Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you in a video talking all about Roman Reigns and the upcoming Royal Rumble. Honestly, in my opinion, Roman Reigns is probably the #1 guy that I think is the pick to win the Royal Rumble. I know that there's other guys laying out there in the weeds. You've got Daniel Bryan, of course, coming back from his injury. He's going to be making his return. Well, I guess he just did make his return to SmackDown, wrestling against Kane, and then also wrestling in the main event six-man tag. More than likely, he will be seeing more and more of Daniel Bryan leading up into this. In my opinion, I probably would have put Daniel Bryan into the Royal Rumble match. Sort of showing you that it was a big question mark if Daniel Bryan really was ready to compete. And at what level he was going to be competing against. You could have used the weeks to build up to the Royal Rumble with Stephanie running down Daniel Bryan, telling him, do you really think you're going to be as good as you once was? Yeah, you surprised and shocked the world last year by winning the championship at WrestleMania in the main event, but your body broke down, and are you going to be able to come back from that? Randy Orton, someday, will be making his return to the WWE. This week might not be the best week, of course, with a lot of WWE legends returning to Monday Night Raw with Shawn Michaels, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, X-Pac. The list goes on and on, probably with all the oohs and ahs. It looks like this is going to be the Raw reunion show. It's looking almost like what the old school Raw once was, or maybe if you go back and you think about what Raw 1000 was, with all of the returns that were on that show from Monday Night Raw's historic past. It's probably going to have a big-time feel of yesterday, and Randy Orton coming in and kicking Seth Rollins in the head might not be the biggest time to bring him in. There's been a lot of talk about Dolph Ziggler maybe winning the Royal Rumble. As of right now, he doesn't even have a job in the WWE, so that's a big question mark, how you'd be able to work a return. Some people said maybe Sting will show up on Monday Night Raw. Honestly, in my mind, I don't really see that happening. I still don't know how Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and Ryback will all be a part. Ryback tweeted that he wasn't allowed entrance into the Las Vegas house show tonight. I don't know if they filmed footage of this and they're going to be showing it on Monday Night Raw or releasing it on Twitter or YouTube, trying to make it some sort of viral, sensation sweeping the land. But another dark horse guy is Dean Ambrose. A guy that hasn't won a lot of matches, but it's involved in a lot of big-time feuds. If you go back to the push, Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for Hell in the Cell, of course, that was the main event of the show. A lot of people were comparing Dean Ambrose to the new Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then he went into the feud with Bray Wyatt, which honestly, in my mind, put a lot of people to sleep, and it just wasn't going to happen. Those are your 4 guys that I can see you maybe picking instead of Roman Reigns to win it. Roman Reigns has been the guy that since probably last year, people have noticed this is the guy that more than likely is going to take over for John Cena. Many have tried and many have failed, but, somebody's going to do it. John Cena, of course, this year, for SummerSlam and Night of Champions, had to take a couple weeks off in order to film movies. Will movies become the new sort of sideline thing for John Cena, where he's going to be doing these more and more every year? That it seems like easy money with less stress on the body, less travel. And, where will John Cena's future take him from here? When will he turn into Triple H, Undertaker, these guys that only wrestle once a year? You need somebody to grab that torch. And Roman Reigns, with the past football history, seems like a guy built with the right body that Vince McMahon loves. The one thing that you can knock Roman Reigns on that say maybe he's not ready are these promo skills. I will say that the last few weeks with him comparing himself to Superman, talking about Sylvester the Cat and Sucker and Succotash, and basically in one of his promos almost going back to the sort of John Cena approach from back in 2004, 2005, when he would say a line all the way up to the cuss line or the cuss word and then stop. It just doesn't work in 2015. It just For me, these are corny promos. I know that Dave Meltzer has tweeted out that Vince McMahon is handwriting these for Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns is probably not at a spot in his career where he can do this, but it's almost at the point where he needs to take these promos from Vince McMahon and go out on a limb and wing it. What is the worst that could happen? Dolph Ziggler is a guy that has a lot of outside interests, and some people say that, these are the things that are holding him back, trying to do stand-up comedy and things like that. But if Roman Reigns is honestly trying to do the best thing for himself, trying to do the best thing from his company, throws one of Vince McMahon's handwritten promos in the trash and just shows people that he can do it. If you go back on the WWE Network, you watch the WWE, video game launch from SummerSlam this year, where he worked without a script. He, went, word for word with Stone Cold Steve Austin. He went word with word with Cesaro, with Sheamus. He didn't really hold back. He showed you that he was not nervous. He didn't show any signs of being hesitant. He knew the time to talk. He didn't stumble over other people, but he got his point across, and he made you believe that he really thinks that he could beat up Stone Cold Steve Austin if it came down to it. He was not going to, show the... He was showing him respect, but he was not showing enough respect that he was going to back down from a fight if one broke down in the Nokia... or I don't know what that place was called anymore, but the Nokia Plaza, and we had to go up those escalators and stuff like that. That was weird. I almost thought I was in the wrong spot. I thought we went to the wrong place, but it is what it is. You can draw a lot of comparisons from Roman Reigns to John Cena. If you go back and you can remember the 2005 Royal Rumble. Of course, the last two guys competing were Batista and John Cena. Both guys, were fighting over who was going to be the next guy. Of course, one thing would lead to another. Batista would end up winning that Royal Rumble, beating Triple H at WrestleMania. That would be 21 in LA. John Cena would, become the World Heavyweight Champion that day, beating JBL. And then they would basically switch roles. John Cena being the hotter guy, moving over to Monday Night Raw. Batista moving over to SmackDown. And having one of the hottest points of his career. You can think of almost being the leader of the B team. It would be a huge step back. Batista ended up being the guy that grabbed the torch for SmackDown and really pointed into the right direction. But John Cena... once he won the championship at WrestleMania 21, he was still hot. Maybe there was some boos in the crowd, but I mean, as each pay-per-view went on and on and on, I can't remember the feuds of 2005, but I think 2005 is when, he had the matches against JBL, which were huge matches of respect. Which basically JBL just beating on John. If you can remember the match after him winning the championship at WrestleMania. I don't know how he walked out of the arena that night with all the blood that John Cena lost that night. Much like the same match that he had with Eddie Guerrero. And Eddie Guerrero just got beat the hell by JBL. It was one of those matches that really, when Eddie Guerrero won the championship, to me, honestly, was one of the biggest flukes. I remember not being a real wrestling fan at the time and seeing, Eddie Guerrero on the poster saying that he was going to fight against Goldberg and just... I apologize, against Brock Lesnar, and just, how in the world are they supposed to make us believe that he really has a chance to beat Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar, even then, was the huge beast in the ring, and just Eddie would be just staring at him. I know that a lot of people are looking forward to, a Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar match, but to me, honestly, back then, not being a wrestling fan, not knowing that they were even really behind Eddie Guerrero, pushing him, to be that spot. It just seemed like it was Bob Holly against Brock Lesnar, a Royal Rumble pay-per-view as well. I can't remember what year that was. It might be 2004, maybe even 2003, because I think that Brock was gone by 2004. But I don't know. I mean, you can look and see that I thought that when Roman Reigns, when he went out with the hernia problem, if you look back at the SummerSlam match from last year, he definitely was losing a lot of the crowd. And I remember my good buddy, Freaking Yeah 88, Miguel, he had a good point where basically he said that this is probably a great thing for Roman, him being, taken off due to having to get surgery to fix himself up. He's going to be able to come back, and the fans are going to be able to sort of forgive him because they haven't seen him in so long. Instead of groaning when he comes out, now they're going to be anticipating it, and you can go back to having him just kill guys, basically like when he was in the Shield, and being the ultimate hero of WWE. But instead, he comes back, and I don't know. I bet he did work on these things, but these promos are just killing him, and it's just to the point basically where it just makes it like, I really think if you held a gun to my head, I think Roman Reigns is going to win the championship. I think that Vince is going to stick to his guns. This is the guy that he wants, and I think that if you make Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble and go on and beat Brock Lesnar, I think that maybe you can try and sort of recreate what WrestleMania 30 was, a very special time in New Orleans last year. But if it doesn't, Daniel Bryan already has one step into the bucket, and he looks like he's, just trying to recreate last year. You're trying to retread everything that you were doing in the past. And, the Yes movement was really strong last year. But honestly, in my mind, the Monday Night Raw last week from New Orleans didn't really have the same appeal. Like, basically, when Stephanie McMahon asked, Daniel Bryan a question, basically, the crowd last year at this time would just already be chanting for the yes or the no, whatever the answer would be. And this week it was almost like Daniel heard the question, looked at the crowd like, I thought you were going to answer for me, and had to start the yes chant up. Roman Reigns, I think, is going to win the championship this year at WrestleMania. I think that they're going to follow through on their plan. I think a lot of it also has to do with Triple H backing up and showing what NXT is, showing that the Performance Center has, merit. I know that, Roman Reigns was down there before the Performance Center got started, but they like to sort of recreate history. And if, they already have Seth Rollins, who's running around with the Money in the Bank briefcase, if you've got Roman Reigns with your World Heavyweight Championship, you've got two guys right off the bat. They're going to be able to say that, they were guys who worked out at the Performance Center and they're already champions. So when they cut these promos on these guys taking these spots coming into the Performance Center, they're going to be saying, hey, this place works. This place, produces champions, and being champion equals making money, and that's what you want to do. That's why you get into this business. You might have grown up being a fan, and you might have, loved watching this, but you came here to make money. You came here to be a success. You listen to us. You listen to Bill DeMott. You pay attention to the things that Triple H helps you with along the way. You're going to be the man, and that's what it comes down to. So, my heart is with Daniel Bryan. I mean, it's who I really want to win this match. But I just think, as a wrestling fan who's watched wrestling for a long time, I'm not the smartest fan in the world. I listen to The Observer and things like this, but and a lot of other podcasts. I just think Vince is going to stick to his old ways, and Roman Reigns is going to be the guy to win the Royal Rumble this year.